I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. So we are continuing in Alma. What we've been reading, here's Alma preaching to Lamoni and the people in the land of Ishmael, and they all get converted. Well, they don't all get converted. The king's house all gets converted, and they're preaching to the rest of the people in Ishmael. At the same time, we've been reading in chapter 21 about Aaron and the rest of their brethren who came on this mission with them. They went, or at least Aaron went, among the Amalekites and Ammonites, who are harder. They're Nephite dissenters, they're Nephite apostates, and they're harder in heart than the Lamanites. Eventually, they end up in the land of Middoni, where Aaron and a few are arrested and thrown into prison, and the rest are in hiding. That's where we left off. So now we turn back to chapter 20. The Lord sends Ammon to Middoni to deliver his imprisoned brethren. Ammon and Lamoni meet Lamoni's father, who is king over all the land. Ammon compels the old king to approve the release of his brethren. And it came to pass that when they had established a church in that land, that King Lamoni desired that Ammon should go with him to the land of Nephi, that he might show him unto his father. And the voice of the Lord came to Ammon, saying, Thou shalt not go up to the land of Nephi, for behold, the king will seek thy life. But thou shalt go to the land of Middoni. For behold, thy brother Aaron, and also Milokai and Alma are in prison. Now it came to pass that when Ammon had heard this, he said unto Lamoni, Behold, my brother and my brethren are in prison at Middoni, and I go that I may deliver them. Now Lamoni said unto Ammon, I know in the strength of the Lord thou canst do all things. But behold, I will go with thee to the land of Middoni. For the king of the land of Middoni, whose name is Antiomno, is a friend unto me. Therefore I go to the land of Middoni, that I may flatter the king of the land, and he will cast thy brethren out of the prison. Now Lamoni said unto him, Who told thee that thy brethren were in prison? And Ammon said unto him, No one hath told me, save it be God. And he said unto me, Go and deliver thy brethren, for they are in prison in the land of Middoni. Now when Lamoni had heard this, he caused that his servants should make ready his horses and his chariots. And he said unto Ammon, Come, I will go with thee down to the land of Middoni, and there I will plead with the king, that he will cast thy brethren out of prison. And it came to pass, that as Ammon and Lamoni were journeying thither, they met the father of Lamoni, who was king over all the land. And behold, the father of Lamoni said unto him, Why did ye not come to the feast on that great day, when I made a feast unto my sons and unto my people? And he also said, Whither art thou going with this Nephite, who is one of the children of a liar? And it came to pass that Lamoni rehearsed unto him whither he was going, for he feared to offend him. And he also told him all the cause of his tarrying in his own kingdom, that he did not go unto his father to the feast which he had prepared. And now when Lamoni had rehearsed unto him all these things, behold, to his astonishment his father was angry with him, and said, Lamoni, thou art going to deliver these Nephites who are sons of a liar? Behold, he robbed our fathers, and now his children are also come amongst us, that they may by their cunning and their lyings deceive us, that they again may rob us of our property. Now the father of Lamoni commanded him that he should slay Ammon with the sword, and he also commanded him that he should not go to the land of Middoni, but that he should return with him to the land of Ishmael. But Lamoni said unto him, I will not slay Ammon, neither will I return to the land of Ishmael, but I go to the land of Middoni, that I may release the brethren of Ammon, for I know that they are just men and holy prophets of the true God. Now when his father had heard these words, he was angry with him, and he drew his sword that he might smite him to the earth. But Ammon stood forth and said unto him, Behold, thou shalt not slay thy son. Nevertheless it were better that he should fall than thee, for behold, he has repented of his sins. But if thou shouldest fall at this time in thine anger, thy soul could not be saved. And again it is expedient that thou shouldest forbear, for if thou shouldest slay thy son, he being an innocent man, his blood would cry from the ground to the Lord his God for vengeance to come upon thee, and perhaps thou wouldest lose thy soul. Now when Ammon had said these words unto him, he answered him, saying, I know that if I should slay my son, that I should shed innocent blood, for it is thou that hast sought to destroy him. And he stretched forth his hand to slay Ammon, but Ammon withstood his blows, and also smote his arm that he could not use it. Now when the king saw that Ammon could slay him, he began to plead with Ammon that he would spare his life. But Ammon raised his sword and said unto him, Behold, I will smite thee, except thou wilt grant unto me that my brethren may be cast out of prison. Now the king, fearing he should lose his life, said, If thou wilt spare me, I will grant unto thee whatsoever thou wilt ask, even to half the kingdom. Now when Ammon saw that he had wrought upon the old king according to his desire, he said unto him, If thou wilt grant that my brethren may be cast out of prison, and also that Lamoni may retain his kingdom, and that he be not displeased with him, but grant that he may do according to his own desires, and whatsoever thing he thinketh, then will I spare thee. Otherwise I will smite thee to the earth. Now when Ammon had said these words, the king began to rejoice because of his life. And when he saw that Ammon had no desire to destroy him, and when he also saw the great love he had for his son Lamoni, he was astonished exceedingly. And he said, Because this is all that thou hast desired, that I would release thy brethren, and suffer that my son Lamoni should retain his kingdom, behold, I will grant unto you that my son may retain his kingdom from this time and forever, and I will govern him no more. And I will also grant unto thee that thy brethren may be cast out of prison, and thou and thy brethren may come unto me in my kingdom. For I shall greatly desire to see thee. For the king was greatly astonished at the words which he had spoken, and also the words which had been spoken by his son Lamoni. Therefore he was desirous to learn them. And it came to pass that Ammon and Lamoni proceeded on their journeys toward the land of Middoni. And Lamoni found favor in the eyes of the king of the land. Therefore the brethren of Ammon were brought forth out of prison. And when Ammon did meet them, he was exceedingly sorrowful, for behold, they were naked, and their skins were worn exceedingly because of being bound with strong cords. And they also had suffered hunger, thirst, and all kinds of afflictions. Nevertheless, they were patient in all their sufferings. And as it happened, it was their lot to have fallen into the hands of a more hardened and a more stiff-necked people. Therefore they would not hearken unto their words. And they had cast them out, and had smitten them, and had driven them from house to house, and from place to place, even until they had arrived in the land of Middoni. And there they were taken, and cast into prison, and bound with strong cords, and kept in prison for many days, and were delivered by Lamoni and Ammon. This is interesting. We have the name of the king of Middoni. Notice that Lamoni does not say he is his brother, but he is his friend. So each land has its own king. This is where we kind of get the idea that the Lamanites were very feudal in their political arrangement. Each land has its own king, and that king pledges fealty to the high king, the king over all the land. We also get this idea that the king, when Ammon makes his demand, free my brethren and give Lamoni his political freedom, and the king says, I won't govern him anymore. But they go to Middoni. They already have the high kings already said, yes, they'll be released from prison. But when they go to Middoni, it says that Lamoni flatters the king of Middoni. So if we already have the command of the high king, why does Lamoni need to speak to the king of Middoni in order to get his brethren released? Because each king still had its own independent power, and they didn't necessarily have to listen to the high king. Now I have no doubt that the king of Middoni was told that Lamoni's father had given the order to have Ammon's brethren released. But that was more of a political suggestion than a direct command that had to be obeyed. He could go against the king. Now, he would incur the wrath of the king and may possibly get the rest of the lesser kings to come against him for disobeying the high king, but he still had the option. He still could risk it without, there may have been other kings that would side with him. It was a very loose political organization, apparently. Now, I'm going to leave that here. I think the rest of the story is well known in the church, so I don't need to say too much more about it. And we will be going back to chapter 21 next, so I will see you there.